Hey YouTube, welcome back. I have another video here, and this one's gonna be about my lathe. I had a request a while back. A guy asked me if I could do a kind of a walkthrough of my lathe. He was interested in knowing more about it, and I thought that was a good idea. And that actually got me remembering that a while back I had a similar question on the shaper. So I'm going to do this first on the lathe, and later I will do the same thing with the shaper. Just kind of a walkthrough and tell more about my machines that I use, and what their functions are, and how they work really. So the lathe. This is a Czechoslovakian made 1974 TOS R5. It's a turret lathe, and this was really not the machine I was looking for when I first started looking at buying a lathe. I was rather looking at a smaller machine, not too small, but definitely not this size. But I started looking online, and this Swedish site where you buy and sell stuff, and this lathe was in my area, and it was pretty cheap, since it's a lathe big enough for most garages. So I went looking at it, and well, I ended up buying it. The guy who sold it, he asked, or he offered to transport it to my garage here, and it was for a fair amount, and everything worked out pretty good. So all in all, this was a pretty cheap buy. In dollars, it's well, less than $1,000. So that was pretty good, I think. I have a lathe where I got a lot of things with it, and it was a lathe that was in a good condition. This one was made for, just standing all day doing things, and it hasn't been used in a factory in that matter. It's been at a company a couple of hundred miles from where I live, and it's been their kind of support lathe. So it's not really that much used, and it's been well maintained. So I'm very happy with the buy, and now that I've been using it for 2 years, I have gotten to know it pretty well, and I'm just gonna go through some of the functions of it and how it works, and all of that. So if you're interested in seeing machining videos, this is not for you. This is going to be mainly talk, so just go look at some of my other videos. You'll find a lot of machining there, and for those of you who wants to know more about the lathe, you just stick around, and I'll show you. So one of the first things when I got the lathe here and I tried starting it, it blew my fuses. It's way too big. This is an 8 kilowatt engine. Or motor, I should say, and it's just way too big for my power supply here. So first of all, I had to upgrade my fuses. I'm running 20 amps, but that still gave me some problems, and I couldn't really start it. So I had to buy a soft starter, and I'll show you just real quick here. So here's the soft starter, and basically what this does is it just cuts the power, so it doesn't affect the fuses that much. It kind of ramps up the power, and I still have problems sometimes with blown fuses, but most of the time the lathe starts up and without any problems. So to turn the lathe on, I just need to flip my security switch there, and then I just move this lever and push this button, and it starts up. And then to turn it off, I just push that button. There's also a cooling system, so I have two buttons for that as well, just to turn the pump on and off. One of the differences between a more ordinary lathe and a turret lathe is the turret lathe usually don't have a top slide. So I just have my cross slide, and I can move it that way. And it's very seldom I do tapered things, but I do sometimes. So what I did was I actually bought a, and this is way too small for this kind of lathe, but it actually works out to what I'm using it for. But I bought this Atlas top slide, and it works out pretty good. As I said, I don't do much tapered things, so the few things I need to use it for, it actually works good. So a real quick walkthrough of the levers is here. You set your speed, just one lever for that, all the way from 28 rotations per minute up to 1400, and it's rare that I run over 700. It happens sometimes, but usually I'm somewhere between here. So you just select the speed you want, and then you just push that lever down, and then to get the chuck rotating, you just move that lever that way. And if you want to run backwards, it's the other way around. You have the feed in, the cross slide in, out, and you have the sideways there. And that's the feed speed down there, and that's 0.25 millimeters per revolution. And that goes up to 2 and down to 0.045. So it's got a pretty good range. I haven't had any jobs where I felt I needed more or less. So I'm pretty happy with that. And you got the scales for the cross slide. And then you have the pretty handy thing of a turret lathe is that you have a automatic feed for the turret or the tailstock, which it would be on a, I don't know actually if it's called tailstock on a turret lathe, but anyways. So if you want to engage the automatic feed, you just move that lever back, and it's gonna start rotating. So I thought I'd just show you a little quick run on the lathe. And this is gonna be kind of a first-person view lathe work. So I'll just check that there. Turn the lever, push the button, and it's running. And oh, almost forgot. Watch and ring. A little too wide there. So there we go. We set the speed to 450. And don't forget the goggles. Right. So you can run it just manually here. And just to set it up. We select 0.125. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier is how to turn the turret. And you have this lever here, and every time I push it forward and then go back again, it's gonna turn all the way until I turn that lever that way, and it's not gonna turn anymore when I go back. So if I were to drill a hole, for instance, in my workpiece now, I would put my drill chuck up here, and I just select maybe 125 or something, engage the gear, and then when I start the machine again, I can just move this back, and you see it starts running automatically. One big reason that I bought this particular lathe was all the extras I got with it. I got a lot of jaws for the chucks. I basically got two chucks, two 3-jaw chucks. And then a while back I felt I needed a 4-jaw. So I bought a 4-jaw and I made a backing plate for it to fit the lathe, and that's something that I really haven't regretted getting that, because it's just so, you know, some works really do require a 4-jaw, and everything is so much easier when you have the ability to change between a 4-jaw and a 3-jaw, and it's pretty easy to change on this lathe. There's just 3 bolts, and then you have the whole chuck off, and you can just change to the other one. Only thing is that it weighs pretty much, so I'll probably put up some kind of rail system or something so I can move it a little easier, or swap it. And then I got a whole lot of collets. And these go with a attachment that's not here at the moment. It's out in my tool shed, and it's not working very good, but these collets are basically new. They're not used very much, So I have plans on making a more of a just ordinary holder for the collets, so I can use them as well, because sometimes it would be really handy to be able to use the collet chuck. Let's see what else. A lot of just extras for the tailstock, different things, threading attachments and stuff like that. So I got a lot of parts with it, which are really handy, because they're expensive to buy if you even can get them. So it's really good that I got that in the price. So that's pretty much a quick walkthrough of this this lathe I'm using, and I am really happy with the buy. It was pretty cheap for what I got. So, and the reason these big lathes are so cheap is they're just too big for most hobbyists. But it is really handy to have a real big lathe, even though it takes up a lot of space in my garage here. I don't regret anything about buying it. So I hope you enjoyed the tour. Hope I haven't forgot anything. If I have, please leave a comment. If there's anything you want to know or that I forgot to mention. So take care. Bye.